So, when you're LS swapping a dump truck or any kind of vehicle, I'm just going to go over some of the things that I've done to get it in here. I've had it in here and I've had it running. Um, then I had some motor problems. I had to pull it back out. So, I'll show you what I did for motor mounts. I'll show you what I did for wiring. I'll show you what I did for the fuel pump. Best I can. If you promise to follow my channel and like my videos. You hear? So, I used the Amazon LS swap fuse block. Pretty cheap. $17. I used the mega fuse coming from the battery to a mega fuse to that. My battery is going to go here. At this point, I start to use the factory LS swap harness. That's an LS swap harness because it was a factory harness, and then I made it an LS swap harness. Took me 5 hours. Probably should have made a video about it, but sometimes I hate making a video about it when I don't really know what I'm doing. We put up LT1 swap on the TV. We tore this thing down in 5 hours. It was a mess until it was done. And then I put it on the motor and I ran it, and then I loomed everything up while it was all still on there, and that's why it kind of looks pretty ugly, you know what I mean? But I don't care how it looks. I want to know that the wires aren't rubbing on anything. I want to know it's easier this way, actually, especially once you learn what all the sensors for everything looks like. So all I did over here was I tapped into, there's a wire over here for the starter solenoid. I got that wire going over there for my run wire. I've got a power onto the computer wire over here that comes on when you turn the key on. All of the ignition switch was all right here, just like it is in all these old trucks. And you just take those wires, use them over here. Motor mounts. I've got these motor mounts, and this kit comes with these little weld-on pieces right here. And then it comes with these guys right here. Go on the side of your block. And they're actually pretty easy to put in. And then you just run the big bolt through the hole. I had to get a low profile oil pan still doing this. I've seen that some guys have done it without it, and I kind of wish I probably could have if I'd set the motor back a little further. I'm like, I'm not kidding, like an inch off from that all working. And if you use the factory Silverado drive shaft, 2-wheel drive, short bed, extended cab, drive shaft, it'll fit perfectly up to the 9-inch rear end. I didn't do that, and I had to get a longer yoke, and I'm hoping that works. Don't know yet, but you can set these back a little further. I think I was going to do it again, but I'm not. Hopefully, we'll set that back a little further. The next one, I would set it back a little further and use the Silverado factory drive shaft. Power steering lines. I got these adapters. We'll see if you can zoom in here. These power steering lines. This is coming off the factory box, going into an AN adapter to an AN line, coming up here to where my power steering is going to go. My LS power steering pump, right? This is just a return hose, but it's still AN line, because why not? Back of the LS power steering pump, get an adapter to the AN. It's like $6. Your brake booster is gonna need vacuum coming from your engine. Get this little guy, goes in the back of the intake, right? Usually a plug on some of them. I had to make this combobulation to, I don't know why I did that. Maybe I just needed a longer hose. But it goes into your vacuum port on your brake booster. Gotta have something there. Gotta have brakes. Now this is pretty easy to show you on this truck. I don't know if it's OSHA approved, but I mean, that locker was old. And you got one fuel line and your one power line coming back here to this fuel pump, fuel regulator, pressure regulator. You can get this all in a kit. I got it, came all in a kit. And I might have had to order an extra fitting or two. I don't remember, it's been a minute. So then, that goes into the 2 lines. The instructions on this were wrong for how to hook it up, and it took me forever to figure that out. Don't follow the picture on eBay. Don't follow the picture on Amazon. I don't know if they've updated it. It's been a year ago, but it took me like 30 days to figure that out. So, save yourself from frustrations. Don't follow the instructions. I'm gonna bolt these guys. Before I take it on the road, I'm gonna take these and secure them down good. This is the fuel pump. Still Amazon, cheap fuel pump. These ends are pretty brittle right here. Be careful. I wrapped it in some good tape to keep it from wiggling. Everybody says it's loud, but I mean, that's how you know it's working. So this is my factory return line. No pressure, so that line really doesn't need to be an AN line, but you got it, so you use it, and then it goes into that factory return. Gas gauge still works, didn't corrupt any of that. This is my line that I just hose clamped over the factory little Ford thing there. The guy that had me the truck before me put a new tank in it, so I'm gonna head there. Onto the inside, which is not done at all. So if you take your whole cluster out, I have some videos about this. You take your cluster out, you know, take the knobs out, take the screws out, and then you climb up all under here, and you see how I've got some stuff marked down here. I've got my OBD2 sensor in there for my service engine light, and there's a ground that you got to run in there for that. And there's, you know, your serial data line. There's your temperature sensor. There's your oil pressure sensor. There's your check engine light. LT1swap.com. Get that figured out. And then you take the back of the cluster apart, right? And you see where everything goes. You see where all the lines go. You see what wire it goes to. I didn't really need a wiring harness for this diagram. I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find one. And then I came out here and looked at it, looked at the wires, figured it out. Wasn't too bad. And then I just run my coolant temperature, do the coolant temperature right there. The check engine light I wired up to be the fasten belts light right here. So when the service engine light comes on, fasten belt lights come on. It's kind of cool. So I think that's about it. Wish me luck on here. Chuck the dump truck. You know, if you don't look at certain parts of them, he's a pretty solid unit. But I'm gonna work this one on a LS swap that works like a work truck LS swap. You know what I mean? And that's what Chuck's gonna be for me. I love how these doors shut. You know what I mean? Like, heavy door swings easier than a light one. Well, I'm gonna get back to work. Before I cover all this up, I wanted to share everything. Pre-LS swap, everything I did. I had to get headers. The Shorty S10 swap headers. And then I'll still have to make my exhaust, so I don't know anything about that yet. But yeah, I think that's about it. In the dash, I was gonna take the speedometer section out, and they make on Amazon a little GPS speedometer, right? And it's the exact same size as that hole, so I was just gonna take it apart and pop it in there. Might be cool. That'd be like a digital speedometer, and the time and the direction. So I'm out of here. Get at me for working Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern time.